Hey friends, Michelle here, and yeah, we've got some things to chat about. Grab a tea, coffee whenever you're watching this. I'm filming this in the evening, and so this is a decaf black tea, which is, ooh, and that's still really hot. Okay, I made a little list of the things we need to talk about. I am calling this video the end of a few eras because some big changes are happening for me personally. And now that I have a YouTube channel, I feel like y'all are coming along with me for this. I've mentioned here and there that I've been looking at apartments, maybe moving, those kind of things. And it's official. I am going to move. I currently rent a house just outside Atlanta, and it's getting expensive. And I also don't need this much space. Part of why let's take a step back in time. I graduated from grad school. When I graduated, when I was in grad school, I lived with my parents and had a couple of beagles. And if you know anything about beagles, they can be a bit loud. And so apartments weren't necessarily what I was looking for. I just felt like I was ready for rental homes, like to rent a house. And I did. I rented a house for a while near my parents. And then after my dad passed away, I moved back in with my mom so we could get her house ready to sell because it was the house we grew up in for 4 people. And now it was just her and me, and we just didn't need it. So, yeah, and then we ended up renting a couple of different houses that we had really just moved because the first house I rented with my mom, it was from a friend, and they were retiring, needed to sell the house to buy a new one. Totally understandable. And then we found this house, and we've been here for 6 years. Yeah, 6 years. Um, been through a lot of loss in this house. Yeah. Mom, I think 4 dogs and a cat. Was it 4 dogs? Yeah, it was 4 dogs and a cat. Not all at once, obviously, but um, I was never looking at apartments right after my mom died because Remy was probably one of the loudest beagles I've ever had. Well, he's probably the second loudest. My Bailey was really loud. But yeah, so after Remy passed away last fall, I just started thinking about it. I wasn't sure where my landlord was going to go with my rent. And, the area that I live in is building up and prices are going high. And I was really lucky to be where I am at a rent I could afford for so long. But that is no longer the case. And I am probably going back to an apartment. And I say probably because I have a few that I'm interested in that I've looked at. Maybe it's just me. Why are a washer and dryer not included, or at least hookups in apartments? I guess it's been so long. It's been so long since I've been in apartments. But even like the apartments that I was in my 20s, they had hookups. Uh, yeah. Anyway, um, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to find, I have kind of whittled down a little list of what my um, priorities were. And first of all is the washer and dryer hookup. I am in my 40s. I have done the lugging the laundry from college. Not going to do that anymore. So I would like a washer and dryer, at least a hookup. Uh, I did want some sort of outdoor space. I am going from having a huge fenced in yard and a dog. My dog loves being out in the yard. And I like being outside and reading. Oh yeah, the private living space, private outdoor space. I'm here with you. That's been a little hard to come by too. Um, I can't. I really don't want to go to an apartment with elevators. To me, okay, let's think about this. An elevator. We tell, and I say we because I used to be in rescue and do training and things like that with dogs, but we tell folks don't corner your dog, but then we put them in elevators and we make it move. Yeah. Can't do that to Mabel. I don't think she would adjust very well. Um, so I'm looking for an apartment that has sort of a separate entrance. And it's just gotten to be a bit of a frustrating process. I am a very anxious person. So I did have a panic attack last week. Just about my list of things that I'm going to talk to you about. There's just a lot of things changing. And I really had to prioritize what I wanted to do. Oh yeah, my third thing for priority, and this one's not as big of a deal, but I would love it to have a bathtub. I have not had a bathtub in 5 years, 6 years, and I'm just realizing how much of a part of my um, method of working and dealing with chronic pain a bathtub was. So that's on there. And that's honestly, there are going into some apartments and it's like, well, bathtub's not standard anymore. What? Yeah. So the reason, besides cost, that I am thinking about going to an apartment is I want to downsize. Downsize the stuff I have that just sits in rooms that I don't use and don't look at all. Like there's things that I probably haven't looked at the whole time I've lived here. And I'm paying to move this stuff and store it for what reason and what purpose. So that's going to be kind of top of mind when I go through and pack stuff up, is to get rid of things. I also really need to focus on my health. And while I'm not, and thankfully, this was an amazing thing that I was able to find, is I'm not responsible for the yard here at this house, but I am responsible for cleaning the house. And I just need a smaller space to maintain while I'm trying to heal my body. In that idea of moving to an apartment, it also makes me realize that I probably won't have a beagle again anytime soon, which is hard for me. I mean, I ran a beagle specific rescue for many years. I've had beagles since I was 24. I've had multiple beagles. The most beagles I've had at once was 4. I mean, that included my mom's beagle, but still. Yeah, and so I'm going down to just kind of committing to being a 1-dog household, which for a former rescuer, it's hard. It's hard, you know? So that's kind of the living situation. And also leaving the house that I lived in with my mom and took care of her for so long here. The neighborhood I really enjoy. I really like this neighborhood. It's walkable to the park. I've got some great neighbors. So that'll all be an adjustment that will take some time. Um, I'm I don't I'm trying not to move away from the actual area I live in. There's, like I said, a couple options that I'm still trying to figure out. But I was talking about, sorry, I'm all over the place, right? This is kind of how my mind has felt uh, the last couple of weeks, really, because I've been thinking about this for a while and I didn't know if I wanted to stay in this house or if I wanted to move. And there were just a lot of factors in that. And I will definitely talk about that once I'm out of here. And yeah, so, but one of the things that I do want to be open about is sharing about my anxiety. It does get the best of me. And I did have a panic attack the other day while I was driving from my infusion. I don't even remember where I was going after because just trying to make a good decision. And I really came to the realization, just this is just something that I have to remind myself so much of, is it doesn't have to be like, oh, I've got to find the perfect place to live. There can be 2 possibilities that both have their good points. One is not better than the other. And it's not like one is perfect. So either one could be okay. And I've really had to sit with myself in that moment and just not get too caught up in wanting to make sure I find the perfect place to live, because nothing's perfect. This place isn't perfect, you know? So that's kind of the living situation. And yeah, the next thing that I've been dealing with, the next end of an era has been with my doctor. I have a doctor who I adore and really appreciate her expertise. And she is as close to a functional medicine doctor as you can get while having an HMO. And functional medicine is very important to me and more of what I think will help heal my body in the long run. She's leaving. She's leaving the HMO or the doctor's office that she's at right now. And she is opening up her own practice, and it will be private pay, not accepting insurance. So I'm not really sure how much of an opportunity I'll have to go see her, but she's going to be local, so that's good. If you have any kind of chronic illness that cannot be seen on any kind of test, if you have anything like fibromyalgia, myalgic encephalomyelitis, anything like that, those are just two of what I have. Uh, you know what it's like to have bad doctors and doctors who don't listen to you. And you know what value there is in having a doctor that listens to you. And this has been my doctor. Like I said, I've been with her for 10 years. And yeah, I went to my last appointment with her today. And it was just, it's bittersweet. I'm really excited for what she's doing. And also, ugh, changing doctors. But we did talk over the last month or so about a newer approach, different approach to helping me regain some of my daily functioning. I haven't really done a day in my life kind of vlog, mainly because I'll start it and forget. But really, I struggle to get up in the morning because of some of the medications I take. We've tweaked that as much as I can to get up. And then I work, take a nap at lunchtime, and then work some more. And then my evenings, I really am just resting and, you know, turning off all the sensory things. A lot of times at the end of a work day after being on screens, I have a headache, and everything I've tried for relieving that with my computer, with my glasses, with, different screens, different lights, it hasn't helped. So we are trying a little bit of a different path with this, but that does involve me giving up sugar. So again, end of an era. I grew up in the 80s. Yeah, sugar was around a lot, a lot, a lot. Next, let's talk about reading. So my reading isn't changing per se. But as you'll have seen in my recent unhaul, and also I unhauled a bunch at the end of last year, I am trying really hard to focus more on the books on my shelves that I haven't read, not keeping books that I could easily get at the library unless it's an absolute favorite book. And also using my library more. I'm not doing well with this. I'm just going to be totally 100% honest. I haven't put together my low spend year check-in for February because I don't want to look at it. I was not good in February. Yeah, I just wasn't. I was stressed out. And yeah, I bought some books. Not a lot, but I bought a few books and a few coffees, a few extra, some coffee. I'm really trying. I really am trying. And so far, yeah. To say, I mean, honestly, I'm disappointed in myself, but I'm also going to give myself a little grace because I'm going through a lot of changes. There's lots of changes happening in our world too. So one of my favorite quotes, and I'm gonna butcher it right now, but it's from Maya Angelou, and she basically said, when you know better, do better. And I'm trying to get there. I really am trying to get there. I don't need to own all these books. I just don't. And I'm hoping to also have that perspective when I go through. A lot of the things up in our storage room are also my mom's things, and it's I've gotten rid of a lot of her stuff, but it's also hard to get rid of her stuff because yeah, it's pieces of her. But at the same time, my sister is awesome at doing that. She's like just remembering that the memories are what's important, and you've got those. I'm not getting rid of pictures or things like that, but yeah, so all of that is I'm just working on it. I'm working on it, continuing to work on it. There's a lot of talk about overconsumption. There's, which have definitely been guilty of that pretty much my whole life. And I think as we move forward and I see kind of the housing prices are changing and food costs are changing, it's so uncertain that I need to be more aware of what I'm spending my resources on. And I say that just in not just in terms of money, but also in terms of time and energy. And I'll also say that this has a lot to do with my intentional living book stack, which I've only read one of the books. I've only read one. I've read 3 books. Well, one book that was on it, and then 2 bonus books. I read Your Life or Your Money by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez. I read Rest is Resistance by Tricia Hershey, and I read The Plan by Kendra Adachi. And I think kind of a combination of those 3 things, those 3 books, working in my head about how I want to move forward in my life as a person in this space, as a citizen in this country, as an occupant in the world. That's kind of, yeah, just the thoughts that are swirling around in my head. But like I said, my reading's not really changing. It's going to be similar as it has been. So let's talk about current reads. I'm getting there. I've chatted a bit more than I intended to. But yeah, moving, changing doctors, and a little new direction with health stuff, and trying to focus on buying less and using, community resources more, like the library. So I did read, let's first talk about the BookTube prize, because I am almost done with that. And if I had known that I was going to be moving at the same time, I probably wouldn't have agreed to judge this first half, but it's okay. We'll still make it work. This is one of the current books that I'm reading. It is 650 pages, something like that. This is one of the purchases that I made. This is The Scapegoat by Lucy Hughes Hallett, which I'm not going to tell you anything about it, my thoughts on it. But I did end up getting this audio on Libro FM, which is basically the cost of a paperback because it's long and I need to have it done by the 30th. So that's happening. I did finish The Hardy Women by Paula Byrne. That is also for the booktube prize. And then I have one other book I need to finish for the booktube prize by March 30th. As far as Invisible Man, this has kind of taken a back seat this month, unfortunately, because it was just getting to, like, it was picking up for me and I was really enjoying it. But yeah, I'm putting it down for just a little bit, but hope to get back in that narrative very soon. I am reading Rain Rain by Anne M. Martin for middle grade March. Really enjoying that. And then I've started Bright Eye Burn by Molly Aitken. This is for the Irish Readathon, has green on the cover. I'm not loving this as much, but I'm curious enough to keep going. I also have a buddy read that's going to start on the 9th. So that's kind of, I did try to pick up a Maggie O'Farrell book and I just wasn't getting into it. And it was totally a me, it's a me thing for sure. So I'm trying to not overwhelm myself, even though I already have. Get ready for this buddy read, finish up my books for the booktube prize. Brain fog. So if I end up only reading one book for middle grade March and one for the Irish Readathon, that's fine. And I'm gonna be okay with that. I always get this way in March because also the prize list came out. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that because that is actually where some of my book buying happened. But we'll talk about that on another day because this video has been so long. Thanks for hanging out. If you have gotten this far, leave me an emoji of a box since I'm going to be boxing up all my stuff. I hope you all are doing very well. And yeah, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.